Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. This is going to be an important video because we have Brian Armstrong, the CEO and co-founder of Coinbase, essentially tweeting some troubling news or rumors that he's heard in regards to the SEC looking to get rid of crypto staking within the US. We're going to be breaking it down in this video. We're going to be reading the thread from Brian Armstrong, looking at some recent actions from the SEC. They recently are probing Kraken in regards to securities and you know, potentially selling them and or selling unregistered securities and all this sort of stuff. And also the SEC is increasing scrutiny for crypto generally, and certainly firms and funds within 2023, obviously following the FTX collapse. Now, regulations, in my opinion, are what propels the cryptocurrency industry into where I think it's going, which is mass adoption, you know, being accepted as this kind of asset class. And, you know, given a provision from all of these hedge funds, even central banks, there was an article wrote from the Bank of International Settlements where they spoke about actually allowing central banks, not necessarily commercial, but commercial will obviously have the green light on the back end of this, and obviously funds, you know, pensions, etc., etc. But they were actually going to allow central banks to hold up to 2 to 3% of their balance sheet in crypto. So regulations are needed to get us there, and this is when we see this market get to the tens, maybe one day hundreds of trillions of dollars. But just like with any technological revolution, there's teething issues. They're going to get regulations wrong at points. You know, I had somebody on the show. I've not actually released the interview yet, and he was saying actually, you know, in order for something to be truly decentralized, you can't really regulate it. But we can go down that deep dark rabbit hole in another video. So let's just focus at the task at hand, which is of course reviewing what Brian Armstrong has said. It kind of makes sense that the SEC are doing this. We've seen them ban, and actually, I'm sure some people are thankfully the likes of Celsius, their yield program and all this stuff previously. And they're kind of, it seems like they're against anything that gives people a yield that's almost like an income or consistent. I don't want to use the word income, on top of the underlying investment. It seems like they're very unsure of that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my face. I'm sure it's not needed. And we're going to go ahead and break down the tweet. So we're hearing rumors that the SEC would like to get rid of crypto staking in the US for retail customers. I hope that's not the case, as I believe it would be a terrible path for the US if that was allowed to happen. Now, I'm not 100% sure that it is going to happen, for the reasons being that would drive it would put the US at a huge disadvantage from a global competitor or a global competitor. It would put them at a massive, they'd have a huge disadvantage as a global competitor in the crypto space. So I'm not 100% sure that this is going to happen. However, it might, and certainly Brian Armstrong is somebody who will be working very closely with regulators, and the fact that he's hearing these rumors I thought was important enough for me to make a video about. So staking is really important innovation in crypto. It allows users to participate directly in running open crypto networks. Staking brings many positive improvements to the space, including scalability, increased security, and reduced carbon footprint. Absolutely. And certainly the last one, which is a huge agenda for the US, which is a carbon footprint, a carbon agenda. You know, they want to bring down carbon. You know, staking has more benefits and is arguably more, I guess, ethical, more practical than a proof of work consensus. Proof of stake, or certainly Bitcoin's proof of work consensus. Proof of stake is far more ethical. So staking is not a security. Here's a good primer. I'll leave a link to this and this tweet, by the way, in the description, guys. Ethereum's new staking model does not make Ethereum a security. So this was good. I've actually read this ages ago. But I think this is what the SEC are looking at. You know, in the same way you get dividends from stocks, but it's not the same thing. You know, as these coins are the stock isn't needed to make the company profitable or unprofitable or work. It's not built into the infrastructure. It's more the sort of financial back end of it and ownership of it. Whereas these cryptos actually are what facilitates. It's kind of like banning computers, that are linked to the internet. Or it's kind of like banning servers that are linked to the internet. That's how I see it. I view many of these layer ones as softwares. We know that Polkadot potentially had the green light on being labeled a software, and actually the coins are an integral part of many of these softwares and how it works. So we need to make sure that new technologies are encouraged to grow in the US and not stifled by lack of clear rules. When it comes to financial services and Web3, it's a matter of national security that these capabilities be built out in the US. Regulations by enforcement doesn't work. It encourages companies to operate offshore, which is what happened with FTX. Hopefully, we can work together to publish clear rules for the industry and come up with sensible solutions that protect customers while preserving innovation and national security interests of the US or in the US. So I agree with everything that he's saying here. There are going to be casualties of regulations, but if they were to ban staking, and we have seen them go after yielding platforms, so money market platforms before, kind of rightfully so. Like they banned Voyager for the US, they banned many of, or Binance has a separate sort of trading arm for the US. The US has some of the stricter regulations, and in some cases those regulations have saved consumers, but in many they've allowed them to miss out. And I personally cannot see them banning staking. If they were to ban staking, they would have missed a fundamental part of why these cryptos are proof of stake in the first place and what it means. And it would be a huge mistake. But I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest with you. However, the fact that Brian Armstrong is tweeting this, this would be, if the SEC came out and said we're going to scrutinize all proof of stake coins and do something with it, that would, I think, be a massive sell pressure on the cryptocurrency market that we would hopefully like to avoid. So crypto exchange Kraken also facing SEC probe. Settlement could come soon. It's from Bloomberg. The US regulator is in the late stages of investigating into the crypto company, possible sale of unregistered securities, according to the report. We also have the SEC lawsuit against Ripple. We actually covered this, or Ripple, yesterday, and said that isn't it funny how the Bank of England are a Ripple partner and actually have tasked Ripple to help them come up with their digital pound and look to integrate new technologies. Kraken is under investigation by the US Securities and Exchange Commission as to whether rules were broken in certain offerings to the US investors. Bloomberg reported on Wednesday. The probe is at an advanced stage and a settlement could be announced in the coming days, the report added. So this would be good news. And of course, the SEC increases scrutiny of crypto trading firm and ESG fund in 2023. The SEC examines divisions released 6 areas of focus on Tuesday. The division says it prioritizes cryptocurrencies and ESG oversight following the collapse of crypto exchange FTX and the formation of a House working group on ESG. The agents annually released a list of priorities after consultation with commissioner, staff, financial regulators, and industry groups. So this is interesting. It wasn't until people started going through the windshields that the motoring industry got regulated, and that really propelled it. Crypto is going to have to go through this as well, in my opinion. And as again, I know we're all here, or many of us are here for this sort of decentralized ideology. We and my vision is very much aligned with Satoshi's in regards to, we need a monetary system that's outside of government control, or central banks control, that we can all audit. But, and there's no but to that at all. What I'm trying to say is actually regulations are what's going to propel this industry it's already in the mainstream, but into sort of corporate financial, government adoption. And it is coming, guys, whether you want to accept it or not. But will the SEC get rid of staking in the US for US retail customers? Very highly doubt it. And of course, anybody with a VPN, you know, could potentially get around this, and I think this would be more damaging than protecting for the US and their customers. You'd be penalizing the citizens of the US massively. I don't think they'll go ahead with it, but it is rumors and it's something to watch, and certainly an interesting topic to cover. All I've got for you on this video, guys. If you enjoyed the content, like us, always appreciate it. So as a comment, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you in the next YouTube video. Have a fantastic Thursday. See you in the next one.